Hello, this is Star Soccer Review assessment of the CONCACAF World Cup Qualifiers. We'll cover Group B first, which consists of Jamaica, Curacao, Trinidad and Tobago, and Bermuda. With the schedule out, starting in September 5th, I decided to go down to Trinidad to cover the Trinidad Curacao game.
Here to find out what's your feeling about the upcoming game and how you think the team is going to feel.
Well, like I said, I've been really excited. It's been a long wait since the World Cup, of course. Already over 2 months in terms of looking forward to the game. Very excited about the whole perspective on the Friday night. Today is our first full day with the entire team, so that's exciting to finally get some players in. And then start the process. It really is, but I couldn't be more excited to be here and really excited to look forward to the game.
As mentioned previously in the assessment, I consider that to be a must-win for Trinidad. Not that they were going to be eliminated, but in these type of tournaments, the home and away, as everybody knows and understands, is very important.
With a 6-game schedule, 3-0. With a 6-game schedule, 3-0. And this is the first game of the tournament and you're at home. Are you looking at this as almost a must-win situation, or how are you assessing the situation?
Yeah, interestingly, I think if you look at the games and how it usually planned out, the system will change where you play home and away. You play the team, i.e. you play Curacao on Friday, you usually go away and play Curacao in the return game. The system game of football is changed so much, which is quite incredible. And so we play Curacao at home, and always the home games are the most important games. We know that it's in this format, over the history of these kind of group qualifications, the home games are the crucial ones. Of course, when we play Curacao at home, we want to win. That's the whole idea. We need to win your home games. That's the difference. That would be our approach, our mindsets, looking forward to playing against Curacao, which by no means is going to be a walk in the park or an easy game, because it's trying to be able to have that luxury of easy game. Every game is really difficult for us. I would say more of a challenge. We got to make sure we bring our 8 games to the game. And then put around to what we go away to Jamaica. Obviously, they're very good at this tournament, but it's no point getting ahead of ourselves. We need to take care of business first. And our sole aim and mindset is to make sure that we prepare well to get 3 points against
The fact that Trinidad was not the favorite going into the qualifiers, it means that they had to take care of home field advantage. We called it, we are accustomed calling it over the years, and we're not going to stop now. We put our expertise out there. We always been on the money, and we're not scared now to put our expertise again on the line. A little later on, I would talk about the home field advantage. The start of the game, you wouldn't know who who was playing at home and who wasn't playing at home. Because of all the years, Trinidad and Tobago has not been able to take advantage of the 12th man. For those who don't know, in sport, 12th man, there's a home field advantage to get a positive result. So Curacao did what most coaches would like to do. If not get a win, at least get a point on the road.
First half, I'm pleased what I saw. Second half, we have to improve. But the first half, we had no problems at all. That way. But the second half, we sit around behind the way Trinidad started playing. Yeah, the first 35 minutes, we had a lot of problems. The last 10 minutes, we came a little bit back. But at the end, it's 1 point for us. It was much more sharper the second half than the first half. That had also to do with the way we played. So we have to learn from that.
I put Curacao from the first game in second place because they got a point on the road, and that's at least, besides a win, that's the second best thing you can get. What I see with Trinidad and Tobago is fundamentals lacking. Errant passes, which is not really conducive for players at international level. Yes, you could be intercepted based on somebody reading the play or coming from the blind side or from a blind spot. But these mistakes are blatant. What Dwight is going to do about that? In looking at practice, you think they're not taking the time, which could be one of the reasons. But we don't want to deal with the other one, which could be maybe they're not at the level. Trinidad and Tobago has not been able in big games to win with the 12th man advantage, and I'm talking about with sizable crowds. It happened against Ecuador with the women's team. All they had to draw to go to the World Cup here in Canada, 2015. Everybody know about the strike squad, and it also happened in 2005 with the Bahrain series where the Socceroos had to go in Bahrain to win. And there's no mystery. It's just that the people, they're willing to support, but they're being distracted. The positive from that game for Dwight was the fact that Trinidad and Tobago end the game a lot stronger in the second half than they did in the first half.
A game of two halves. Some adjustment in made for the second half, and could that adjustment and the momentum continue into the next game?
Yeah, as I said, I'm not sure. I think we're going to do some due diligence work and have conversations with players. I'm not sure whether the crowd is overwhelming or the nerves get the better of the players. We haven't seen football at this level for a long time with the crowd that is expected. Some of these players haven't been in this environment either, so there's a lot of things there to consider. But once the second half, we had a conversation about it and being a little bit more on the front foot, a little bit more aggressive, which is something that we talked about. We generally a slow starter for whatever reason. I continue to say that we are more a reactive team rather than a proactive team. And for some reason, I'm working hard behind the scenes to get us to be more proactive rather than reactive. So it shows, as I'm sure the people trying to be when everybody around the world is watching the game, think obviously Curacao was clearly the better team first half, and second half we were definitely dominant and probably a little bit unfortunate not to really get 3 points to the end. But at the end of the day, we didn't concede. We got a point to win. The fans, the people to get involved, and clearly, Rio decided to start it. And certainly, once we got a foothold into the game, you see players now with the energy that we have in the first half really come to the forefront. And that's what we need. We need that kind of energy from start to finish because of the players that are talking about past experience. You feel all the energy of the people and the fans. And certainly first half that wasn't quite what it was. I'm not sure if everybody recognized that the team was playing as well as we should have done. And sometimes you need that energy off the team. And we didn't get that right first half. The second half, you could see the whole energy and the whole place has shifted in our favor. And as I said, unfortunately, we get the result that we needed in the end.
The energy is misguided. It's in the wrong flow. Either the people don't know the game as well, or whoever is orchestrating the support isn't sending out directive. If you go with support in El Salvador and all these places, even not maybe as good as Trinidad and Tobago at time, support is not something they struggle with. It's always an advantage at home. When Trinidad want to make it to the 2026 World Cup, they're going to have to step up when it comes to home field advantage. Curacao, for the home game, that was a really energetic crowd. But when you're having close to 6 to 10 rhythm sections, and you have rhythm section playing even when your team is defending, the rhythm section should be playing when the team is attacking, when they just had a close shave, when they have a corner and stuff, because Trinidad and Tobago played Curacao. That game ended up 0-0. In that first game, I was very effective, so I don't know why whoever is bringing the rhythm sections, why they can't coordinate it with the team, putting pressure on the opposition, to really cement that 12-man advantage. The home and away, as everybody knows and understands, is very important.
Listen, I'm very happy with the squad that we have. I'm very content, as I said. I think it's probably the closest, strongest team that I've inherited since. As I said, the boy Kobe, the boy Jackie, the boy Kai. These guys are coming and really, adjusted and the likes of Jackie and these guys who have come in and really made the team a lot more competitive. So it's I've got a job on my hand to pick the best teams in such a short space of time. But that's what we're trying to create. I don't think the grandparents will kick into effect before that comes in. But if and when that comes in, we'll be ready to go. The options that are available to us. But so the mindset is positive. As I said, it's a game in the past we probably could have lost. I've got to make sure that the players stay positive, and that's part of my job to do that. My group staff will do that. We'll be on hand to make sure that they dust themselves down, put that result behind them. And it's all about, we can't think of that. We've got to dust ourselves down very quickly. We've got a couple of days before we travel to Jamaica. It's on Tuesday, so it's a quick turnaround. We've got to get the mind around it and be brave and ready to go into Jamaica to make sure that we try and get a result there as well.
The concern for Trinidad and Tobago should be that Jamaica, the Reggae Boys, are getting the results they desire, which is they scored 5 goals against Bermuda in the first game, so they jump ahead at the table.
We respect Jamaica, but we don't fear them. I don't think that they're a real healthy place themselves, despite the result today. They won't be really looking forward to be playing against us. If we perform the way we can perform, certainly when you take a look at the second half, I think they know that they're going to be a very, very tough game. But, that's, and to qualify for the World Cup, that's what we should be. There's no easy pathway, easy road to qualify for the World Cup. And, tonight is just another example of how the challenge ahead that we've got to make sure that we be at our best at all times.
After covering 2 friendlies for Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago, I decided I would see how this, for points, how Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica would play. It's a rivalry game. There's no doubt Jamaica was favored. So I went to see how the game was going to be played, what type of game Jamaica had. Because the synergy wasn't really there as far as I see, covering them for the last maybe 4 or 5 Gold Cups. Again, Trinidad and Tobago played well. 3 goals were called back on the offside. But while the statistics favor Trinidad and Tobago, time of possession, everything else, the scoreboard, obviously, the points, and one of the, I consider it a demoralizing aspect of that game. It's the fact that the marquee forward, which is Garcia, scored goals, with the last one being a very glaring offside. And for me as an offensive player, that most people know, Garcia is a player with a tremendous amount of speed. So I don't understand if it's anxiety, if it's the ball is not coming when he wants it or needs it when he makes his run. But he should have been a little shy to be going offside. Not just the offside, but the fact that you're scoring offside goals. Meaning that that's the worst could happen, because you would have to tell yourself, maybe if you was onside or if you stayed onside, you would have been able to still, bury it. So for that second game, Trinidad and Tobago lost 2-0. Jamaica, they did what they had to do. Again, Trinidad and Tobago team is making simple mistakes, because you might be quicker, you might be a little more skillful, but if you don't have that coordination within the team, it's going to be a long day. But all in all, they're improving.
The main criticism coming out of the first game against Curacao was that the guys took long to activate and only activated in the second half. Coming into this game, in spite of the score, how do you think you guys did with activating and performing?
Well, I don't really want to go into too much activation and all this kind of stuff at the minute. Clearly the result, not the result we wanted, so I'm not going to evaluate my players here right now. But I know that it's a bit of blow for us. We felt that we've done enough to come away with something from the game, and unfortunately that hasn't happened, and we are leaving Jamaica with an empty hand. So clearly not happy about certain things, but it is what it is. We can't change the result at the moment, but certainly from performance-wise, I'm very pleased with my players. We think that we've felt like it's been hard done from our side, but that's the nature of the game. Sometimes you don't really get what you put in, and it doesn't show that way for us. So yeah, it's a tough one for us to swallow tonight. We're playing catch up at the moment, but I've been in football long enough to know that it's never over until it's really over. So I've got to make sure that to keep the boys positive, we will reflect back on the 2 games in terms of how we play. We just need to tidy up a few things, but overall the performance, I'm sure everyone who has looked at those both games, Trinidad and Tobago should not be in the position that we're in. But we are, it is what it is. We need to dust ourselves down, we need to regroup again, and look forward to the
Coach, congrats on the win. Just spoke to Dwight Yorke. He said Jamaica didn't get to play the way they wanted to play at home, and he takes some comfort from that. Do you agree with that statement?
What?
Jamaica didn't get to play the way they wanted to play at home. Do you agree with that statement?
I think what we wanted first was to win. I think we started the game so well, the first 20-25 minutes. Had opportunities to score. First goal is always important. I would say we got luck with the first goal for Trinidad. It was disallowed. VAR, took a decision, and we saw that it was offside. So the first goal is important. We got it, and then I think what we did was we kind of controlled the game. So in possession, out of possession. So we wanted to keep the ball a little bit more, and the win is a great credit to the players, because it's a young team, it's inexperienced. We've tried to put the squad together. We've had many injuries over the last 2 or 3 weeks leading up to the camp. 8 normal players who would play have been missing, and we put Isaac, King, were the only ones who were there, from previous. So to come here with an inexperienced young squad, to get 6 points, which was always the goal. Credit to the players for that, credit to the staff. I think they've done a remarkable job, and we've, along the way, we've difficult on the ground, and we felt that he should have been with us. Got injured playing for Mount Pleasant, so that was disappointing. But we found some what I call nuggets in terms of young players and players I've tried. No one better than Cadavatri. When you don't have Warner Brown, who has been the first choice, and you bring in a young player in like Cadavatri, and Shamal back, and we had Miguel. He's done a remarkable job, because to win you have to be effective and score goals, and he can do that as well, apart from his work rate, apart from his running. I think he's been excellent for us in the first 2 games, and considering he wasn't really on our radar the last 3 weeks, but he's pushed himself and got his just rewards. So I'm absolutely delighted for the players. They've been a pleasure to work with. The energy and the attitude. Okay, we made mistakes, but that's an experience. We got nervous. That's also an experience. And I would say we're rather fortunate, because obviously with VAR the decisions have got to be right, but on the 2 occasions they were too close for comfort. We keep a clean sheet, which was the main thing for the 2 games. We've created chances. We look like a hard-working team that's hard to beat, with speed, pace, CFAS. Tyrese Campbell has come in as well, bit of an unknown. We've been the likes of Kahimo. We've got speed, and we've got good defenders, and so we're really pleased with the start. It's only the beginning, and tougher games ahead.
In terms of our midfield, we still seem to be struggling to get organized, especially a lot of times the center circle is very empty tonight. What are the adjustments that you plan to make for that?
I thought we were very organised in terms of that midfield. I wouldn't say we took risks, but we took risks playing Casey Palmer as a 10 and John Russell, who likes to get in the box. John Russell scored the goal again. So how many?
5 goals for Jamaica.
5 goals since he came back into the squad. So we've got threats and creativity, and you know he's kind of the unsung hero, Isaac Hayden. We don't see him much, but he quietly goes about his job, fills in for people, and he's our real rock in there. And it's disappointing he got the second booking, which we'll miss in the next game.
Coach, in the press conference, the pre-game press conference, you mentioned you wanted the fans to come out and be that 12th man for the team. So, like, are you pleased with the turnout tonight? Like, did you feel like that would help motivate the team?
I think the team was so focused on doing the job, and we wanted to give a performance and get the win. In spells we had that performance, and we got the win. So we're delighted that the fans go home happy. It's important. And we look towards the next game and try and build this crowd up and the atmosphere up for what is going to be, terrific last 4 games. It only gets harder from now on. So Curacao next is going to be very difficult. But we're concentrating on the process on us. We want to be hard to beat, keep clean sheets. We can do that. You see, we've got good players also to come back in and who can score goals. So what I see, I really liked, and especially the first 20 minutes. It spells where we really built from the back, but we got nervous towards the end and maybe a little tired. But we got through grit and determination, and so I can't fault the players at all for whether it was good, bad performance, how we want to play. We got the result, and that's the most important.
Yes, coach. My question is similar to Mr. Jones. 6 points, coach. I think you have eradicated a lot of doubts that people are coming into the qualifiers about the team. What is the mindset basically now?
As I say, for an inexperienced team, they gave everything to Jamaica, to the supporters, to each other to get this result.
Two questions, coach. Just to follow up on Roger's question. He asked about how do you want to play. That's one. I'm not sure that's an answer, because I can't tell anybody how Jamaica wants to play. That's one. 2, we spoke about inexperience here for our first 2 games of the final round. We had a year to build a squad. Why are we at the stage now where with 8 players out, our squad of 26? There are a number of inexperienced players. Why?
Injuries.
No, injuries with 8. The squad is 26.
Yeah, that's 8. And that's 8 first team players who play in the team regular for the last year.
What about your second best left, not your second best right, but your second best number 6?
Injuries as well.
So what exactly is the question?
I'm saying you're speaking about inexperience here. This is our second game in the final round. We had a year to prepare a squad to get into the final round. Why are we talking about inexperience now with just 8 players being injured?
With just 8?
With just 8, yes.
8? It's 8 first team players.
Yes, so what about the players who would have been developing for the past year?
This is what we brought. That's a poor question. Because 8 are who normally play. Andre Blake, Ethan Pennant, Bell, Bobby Reid, Leon, Damari Gray, and Warner Brown.
Yeah. So, what about the second 11?
You've just seen them.
Whoa,
what a bad question.
Coach, we conceded 3 goals tonight.
Sorry?
We conceded 3 goals, although offside. Does that concern you?
3.
Yeah, 3 offside goals. Did you see anything that concerned you at all defensively from the team tonight? Because we're going to face Curacao next game, a tougher opposition. Are you at all concerned about how we got?
You think Curacao are tougher than Trinidad? You think the Garcia's not a dangerous player? Sealy, Spicer. I know they're missing Mourinho and people like that, but they got good, very fast, very quick, very technical, and they're always going to create opportunities and chances, which they did. That's football. You get a clean sheet by defending well, but also having some luck, which we did. So I'm trying to be positive about going forward after 6 points. A good start to not worrying about what's been in the past for the last year. And what about where have these inexperienced players been? It's where we are now that we've had to cope, and the players who have come in have done a great job the last 10 days. We've been through a lot to get here, a lot to come together, and we've had players drop out even in the last couple of days. We've had to add other players, and we've got the likes of Mason Holgate who got injured. He played tonight. We had to bring Steve. So credit to the players for the camaraderie that they had coming together and what they showed on the field. And what do you want to see? You want to see fight. What we are, the way we play. We don't need possession, but we have such speed, and we have such speed on the wide areas that they're exciting players. Every time Seafast gets it, the crowd get up. Kaheem the same. And we've got Warner Brown, we've got Kanamantri now. Shamar's come in, and the 2 games that he's come off, he's done really well. So I'm really pleased with the squad that we put together. But I do know that 2 weeks ago, having 8 injured, we were looking at a difficult 2 games which we've come through.
Yeah, Coach, congratulations. Based on with the run of play, with the offsides and stuff, what was your thinking with the changes, seeing that you had a roster depleted?
Yeah, we closed out the game out very well. Putting 3 at the back, adding Holgate. And once we did that, and Kieran, we were stronger defensively, and therefore towards the end they didn't create the chances that they did say in the first half.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
They did what they had to do, according to Coach McLaren. And that's all the supporters could ask for. Now there would be supporters who are never satisfied. There would be people in the media who have a little concern with Coach McLaren. And everybody's entitled to his or her opinion. But the bottom line is, the name of this game is winning. And Jamaica is winning right now. And that's all you could ask for. Now, the 3rd game is going to be between Curacao and Jamaica. So the scenario is like this. If Curacao beat Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago beat Bermuda, the group is almost starting all over again, because these teams have to play each other one more time. However, if Bermuda beats Trinidad and Tobago, I think you can do the maths as much as you want. I think it's all over. Although Trinidad and Tobago is now mathematically eliminated, because now Bermuda is going to be ahead of Trinidad and Tobago. They'll have 3 teams to pass. With 1 point, the Bermuda will have 3. Regardless of what happened between Jamaica and stuff, Jamaica could have 9 or 6 with Curacao with 7. Or if the game was drawn, Jamaica would have 7, Curacao would have 5. So you see how it's imperative for Trinidad and Tobago and Dwight Yorke to get his team ready for the Bermuda game. Now, the last game Bermuda played, it was 3-2, and it was 2-2 at halftime against Curacao, which is a very good team. So, there's no walk in the park in this group. Yeah, many would say, with Canada, USA, and Mexico out, it's a easier route than it is. But again, we know this game is played when this is a knockout format here. Regardless of points, this is a knockout format from this game to game one. So more likely, Bermuda lose, they're out. Trinidad and Tobago lose, they're out. And the whole positive aspect for the future look a little brighter for Curacao and Jamaica. As I said, Jamaica could clinch should they win the next two games. I can't see anybody at that stage catching Jamaica. This is where I see it. Covering this CONCACAF for quite a while and looking at the style of play, Suriname is now leading Group A with 4 points, and Haiti hasn't lost a game. They draw the two games and they're in third spot, tied on points with Costa Rica. This Group A and Group C, it's anybody's guess than even the Group B, where it seemed like Jamaica is in the next couple of games if they continue how they're going. But it looked like the Group A and Group C, like Suriname and Haiti is giving Honduras and Costa Rica and these teams a run for their money. So it's a very interesting development in the other group. As I said in my assessment going into this CONCACAF World Cup Qualifiers 2026, its style of play is, and this is a little difficult situation for Trinidad and Tobago and Dwight Yorke. If in bringing in players, the synergy of the team, they have the desire. He's doing a good motivating job, but he has to have some team chemistry to play these teams. Trinidad and Tobago is going to be playing the weakest opponent thus far, based on the standings and even based on my expertise going into the group in Bermuda. And as I say, no disrespect to Bermuda, but this is what I do based on going and cover these games. So I'm not afraid to say that Bermuda is the underdog in the group. And based on that, if Trinidad and Tobago lose to Bermuda, I don't think, in agreement with many people, they don't deserve to even go the scenic route. And more than likely, they won't be going the scenic route. I really find it hard to see that happening. But as people say, the ball is wrong and things do happen. So again, what I think going in, should Trinidad and Tobago win against Bermuda and Curacao lose against Jamaica, well, the whole race now will be for second place as far as I see it. So unless Trinidad wins and Curacao win. If Curacao lose, Jamaica would just about going to clinch because they have Bermuda next. And you can't ask Bermuda to really beat. The best they probably can do is draw, and that would be played in Jamaica. So I would think Jamaica would be more or less almost clinching first place. And the race would be for the second place. If Trinidad, Dwight Yorke and the Trinidad and Tobago Socorros bring their A game and less mistakes and public watching, I still think the ball coming out the back is a problem. I don't think the swivel is working on both sides. I don't want to call names, but I will. Once the third game is finished, depending on the result, and the reason why I hold off on like Ken Butcher is because I'm seeing improvement in the team every game. So, and they say Rome wasn't built in a day, so, and I have confidence in Dwight. We're seeing improvement in the team. Is it fast and enough for the team to qualify? It's left to be seen. But once you see an improvement, you really don't know. And that's the reason why I travel to see the game, because no result is guaranteed. You only know who's favored. And That's how the sport is. So as it is now, Dwight, Latapi, Derek King, they have some work to do. They definitely have some work to do, because as I said in the earlier assessment, Bermuda has a certain style of play, close to Curacao. So there's no way, even if Trinidad and Tobago is better, even if the players good as how they played against Jamaica, it might not be good enough, because the type of coordination Bermuda plays. Look at the games. Style of play is important, and they got that. So unless the trend changes, this thing is over with Jamaica sealing by the fourth game against Bermuda. And if Trinidad want to be in it, the fight is going to be for the second place playoff.